right, Red State brings us the next Trump scandal in the form of a question. What confidential business did a businessman with Russian mob links have at Trump Tower last month? But no smoke, no fire, nothing to see here. Just keep moving. Right. These things just keep turning up by what? Coincidence? Given that Trump's former, it's almost the same, Freudian slip, I guess. Given that Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, the alleged Russian mob fixer, left the campaign under the heavy fog of suspicion regarding his ties to rather unsavory and pro-Russian figures, including having reportedly received hefty payments from those same sources, it makes this all the more, what would you say, curious? This one's from the Politico. A Russian-born, mafia-linked businessman whose ties to both Donald Trump and loyalists of Russian President Vladimir Putin have sparked scrutiny, visited Trump Tower last month for undisclosed business. Undisclosed business. He told Politico. The businessman, Felix Sater, also donated the maximum allowable contribution to Trump's presidential campaign, according to the campaign's most recent Federal Election Commission filing. Now, the relationship between Sater and Trump apparently developed when Sater's firm worked on a Trump-backed project in New York, leading Trump to hire Sater to help him garner business in the former USSR. That's Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, for those of you in Malaga, Washington, and Murrieta, California. Trump now claims he doesn't know Sater, but Sater claims a closer relationship. Sater told Politico that he has not seen the candidate recently and that the purpose of his visit to Trump Tower last month is confidential. I bet it is. Sater declined to say whether he's had recent contact with the Trump organization or Trump's children. I don't see the relevance of that, he said. Impute all the hidden meaning to that you want. Sater gave the campaign $5,520 in 3 donations in July, according to the campaign's August FEC filing. Because the maximum allowed individual contribution is $5,400, the campaign refunded the $120 difference. Ooh, the Trump campaign did an honest thing. Yeah, because there's only $120 in it for them. Of course, as cash poor as they are, they probably need all the dimes and nickels they can get. Sater's business relationship with Trump has been the subject of sworn testimony by both men, sworn as in court, and has come under scrutiny because of Sater's past associations and the Trump campaign's unusual stances on Russia. Sater was convicted for stabbing a man in a bar fight in the early 90s and pleaded guilty to racketeering in 1998 for his role in a mob-orchestrated stock fraud, according to the Washington Post. His racketeering sentence was reduced for cooperating with American intelligence officials on undisclosed matters related to national security. Wow, I didn't know that he was aware that Trump was going to run for president 18 years later. This is the appropriate place to go wide-eyed and say out loud, "Are you serious?" In the late 90s, Sater worked with Bayrock, a real estate firm that had offices in Trump Tower and also dabbled in business ventures with Trump at that time. Fast forward to today, and Bayrock is in the middle of a lawsuit brought by a former executive involving unexplained cash moving into the company from Russia and Kazakhstan. Move right along, nothing to see, total coincidence. Then, of course, there was financing from a firm that was favorable to Putin. Sater went to work for Trump directly in 2010 and even carried business cards that listed his title as Senior Advisor to Donald Trump. You know, it's a pity that Douglas V. Gibbs didn't issue cards to some of us. He could have issued one to me that would have been a huge card for all the things I did for him for over the years. But Senior Advisor to Douglas V. Gibbs, that would have been nice. Not that he necessarily wanted to take my advice, especially on Donald Trump. Anyway, but Trump doesn't know Sater, according to Trump. Under oath, Trump has described his ties to Sater as distant. In other words, Trump perjured himself, saying during testimony for a case related to a Trump development in Fort Lauderdale that he would not recognize Sater if the two were sitting in the same room. In testimony related to a libel suit brought by Trump against a book author and first revealed by the Washington Post, Sater said under oath that he met frequently with Trump in the, millionaire's office over a period of several years, flew with him to Colorado, and entertained a request from Trump to show Ivanka and Donald Jr. around Moscow in 2006. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. So who's telling the truth? Sater and Trump seem to have varying shades of that truth in regards to their relationship. Now, there is a reason these issues continue to bubble to the surface. I prefer the metaphor of the nugget floating to the top of the tank. Have to credit Shawn Michaels with that one. And are doing so with increasing frequency. Well, fancy that. As we draw closer to November, firing Manafort is not the same as covering up a past that is straining to see the light of day again. Trump and Bayrock partnered with the Sapir organization, led by the now deceased Tamir Sapir and his son Alex, in the development of the Trump Soho high-rise in Manhattan a decade ago. During the Cold War, Tamir Sapir, an emigre from the Soviet Union, sold electronics to KGB agents from a storefront in Manhattan. Oh my goodness gracious. Alex Sapir's business partner, Rotem Rosen, is a former lieutenant of the Soviet-born Israeli billionaire Lev Leviev, an oligarch with long-standing ties to Vladimir Putin, who counts the Russian president as a true friend. You know, the facts are, rumors of Trump's involvement with the Russian mob are not new. These stories were available to anyone with an inkling of curiosity, willing to do a quick Google search from before he ever announced his candidacy over a year ago. And that, of course, is the problem. Many of those who were driving the train of the old American Republic, it's driving the coffin of the old American Republic, but I digress, over a cliff have not the patience to vet a candidate And most frightening, many just don't care. And there's a label for people like that: Trumplican. Now, I will concede every report, rumor, and backdoor whispering about Trump's disturbing acquaintances could be false, or at the very least misunderstood and overblown. Maybe some of them. I mean, it's possible, but not entirely likely. Not even very likely. Okay, completely unlikely, given the sheer volume and consistency of the reports. This will go down as the most shameful election season in American history, and that's saying something, folks. If we survive the next 4 years, I pray the dullards who have gotten us here are capable of learning that if they can't think, at least they should stay the bleep home during the primaries.